And there it is. That's a Welsh March Brown. Just a great old school fly to swing down and across current, strip in a little bit, and that's it. Ready to go. All right, super. What we're going to be tying here is a kind of a classic March Brown wet fly, a Welsh March Brown. It's they're fun to tie. There's not much to it. The only thing is the hen feather wing. It's still a work in progress for me, but I think I'm getting there. So for a hook, I have a Lightning Strike NW3 Lightning Strike hook from Wapsi. Thread is Semperfli Classic Wax 12/0. It's nice and thin, real strong. Just a great thread for flies like this. Just gonna get the thread started on the hook shank. I'll do a little adjustment here. Kind of staying traditional. I'm gonna go with some Lagerton for, this is a flat metallic small varnished French tinsel, the fancy stuff, if you will. Gonna get that secured. This will be the far side of the hook for me, and this is kind of important. I'm gonna put on a very light tail on this, and I don't want to jostle that tail when I go to take wraps with that tinsel. The tail, again, very traditional. This is bronze mallard, only like 3 or 4 fibers, not a lot at all. It's beautifully marked stuff. It's just so natural looking, and I used to tie their tails fairly long, like, you know, a full hook shank in length, so I'll do the same. I'm going to pull the fibers up and toward me as I wrap rearward. This is going to keep them on top of the hook shank as opposed to being pushed by thread tension to the far side, and then just snip the excess off. Not really worried about body taper here at the moment. For the body of the fly, this is natural light hare's mask, kind of spiky and very natural looking. What I'm going to do though, as whenever I'm dubbing any fibers really, I'll pull them apart several times. It's called carding, gets the fibers aligned. And then I rotate the clump 90 degrees so my fibers are going up and down, parallel to the tying thread. And this allows me to twist on the fibers and make a very nice thin dubbing noodle. I always, you know, a lot of the times you go and you have just too much dubbing on your thread. This is a long hook shank, and I tend to run out as opposed to having too much, but we'll see what happens here. I'm gonna get that dubbing started. I want the dubbing to begin right at the base of that beautiful little bronze mallard tail. And I'm just going to take touching wraps going up the hook shank, trying to build in just a little bit of taper, little thicker at the front than down at the back as I go. And yeah, once again, I ran out of dubbing. It's remarkable how much this long hook shank seems to absorb. I think that should be about right. Feels pretty good. Then I'm just gonna get hold of that tinsel, open spiral wraps, trying to keep them nice and even. You notice how that first wrap didn't jostle that tail at all? Just gonna go up long. Normally I go 5 turns showing. Here we're gonna go a full 6 because it's just very long shanked hook. Lock that off. All this is the easy stuff, guys. it's the very final step, putting on the slip wing that just causes me and everyone else fits. So to hackle the fly, I have a Hungarian partridge skin here, and we're using these really nicely modeled and marked feathers down in here. Absolutely beautiful natural coloration. Just a single feather. And to prep it, I'm gonna pull off all the webby lower fibers and then isolate the tip. Just hold on to it. Preen down the lower fibers. And then I'm going to snip that excess tip off and get that firmly secured to the hook shank. I really like plunger style hackle pliers most of the time to get a hold of the stem. And then I'm just going to use my fingers and fold the fibers rearward. Just get them pulled back kind of 90 degrees to the stem if I can. And begin wrapping. This one, to me, looks a little better, more fully hackled than most flies of this era. I really want to see those beautiful markings from the Hungarian partridge. And then just snip the excess off close. Now, unfortunately, I can't really show you the materials prep for this next step. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 matching hen feathers, one from each side of the wing. And these are not the primary feathers, these are secondary feathers. And I'm going to cut slips from these leading edge fibers, not the trailing ones, they're too soft. I use a razor blade to do it. You can use scissors. You just want the slips to be roughly the same width. Try to get one the same width from the other feather. That's not bad. And again, I wish I could show it to you, but really can't. I'm going to match these 2 together, the duller back side of the feather facing each other. And I do this by stabbing them on my bodkin. And then, real important here, use your, not your index finger and your thumb, but your middle finger and your thumb. It's kind of a secret when you grab it. But I'm going to check my measurement. Little ways past the bend of the hook. Going to kind of stroke these fibers down, something like this. And this is a tricky part. You either get it or you don't. Again, middle finger and thumb, grip them, go straight over top, down the other side, and then just pull with tension. I lost one little fiber, but I think we're okay. If it looks good, lock it down. And hopefully the far side, oh, that's not too bad this time. Looks pretty good. And what I like to do, just so if I'm going to cut these off, I don't want them to mess with the orientation of the wing. I pull them back and take a wrap or 2 around just the hook shank before I go back over top. And then I can reach in with my tying scissors, snip that excess off. So I want to get all this stuff covered up, but I don't want to leave too many thread wraps on there. I really like a nice small head on these flies. And I'm going to use this stuff. It's Vineyard's tying wax. It's very, very grippy. Dubbing wax will not work here. It's got to be fly tires wax. And what it allows me to do is that extra grip, I can go right up over all those little butt ends that are sticking out and get them all nicely covered up. Tip for any of you fly tires is once you have that stuff covered up, stop wrapping, okay? We all have the tendency to take one more wrap and one turns into 10 and pretty soon the head of the fly is huge and just looks wonky. So I've got my thread situated right back by the base of the wing. And I'm just going to take forward thread wraps, back to front. Really important with a whip finish to go back to front. Makes a really good knot. And I have a little chisel on the back of my whip finish tool. It's just I'm going to put some tension on the thread, part the thread, and you're good to go. Again, I'm going to check that wing. Looks real nice. That beautiful modeling on there. And then just to finish it off, very important to get some head cement on there. I use Sally Hansen Hard as Nails in a little bottle like this. Allows me to place a drop or 2 very, very accurately on either side. Looks a little bulbous right now, but once that sinks in and dries, it'll seal all those thread wraps up and you're good to fish it. Always important to just make sure that eye's clear of adhesive. And there it is. That's the that's a Welsh March Brown. Just a great, you know, old school fly to swing or down and across current, or strip in a little bit. Doesn't have to be during a March Brown hatch. To me, it's more like an Adams. It's just a universal attractor. And that's it. Ready to go. So I'm Tim Flagler. I'm a fly tyer. I've been tying flies for about 40 years now, and do fly fishing shows like this. My wife and my son and I also do a lot of hosted travel. Argentina, down in Patagonia, Montana, British Columbia, a couple different places in Pennsylvania. And so that's part of our program, but most of the time I'm doing tying videos. You can find them on YouTube. Just search Tightline Video and you'll get to me. We have over 700 tying videos, but you can also find us on Midcurrent. TU website has a bunch of our videos as well, and that's how you get to us and how you see the videos. You know, the head cement is still wet. I want it to dry. One of the best ways I found to do it, I used to use styrofoam cups, but we really can't get them anymore. But these silicone beer glasses, they just set right in there, and you know, you can tie however many dozen flies you want. They just go all around the rim, and set it down. It's not going to tip over. You just let them dry.